Money over medicine. I fell for it and you probably have too. Today, I'm going to talk about how becoming a greedy corporate hoe put me in a fast track lane to provider burnout. All because I accepted a job I didn't love. You see, my heart and soul lies in primary care, but I took a job in urgent care with a 6-figure salary and a $30,000 sign-on bonus. Because, well, let's be honest, I did it for the money. I was blinded by the money. That $30,000 sign-on bonus was the best thing that ever happened to me, but it was also the worst thing that ever happened to me because that money helped me pay off my student loan debt, but it also opened up my eyes to the business of medicine, which led me to 2 massive realizations that really changed my life. Okay, so a little backstory to get us started. I was a PA for 9 years, and just like most PAs I know, I graduated with a massive amount of student loan debt. So naturally, probably just like you, I wanted more money so I could be freed of my debt as quickly as possible. But unfortunately, I wised up a little too late and I was suckered by the business of medicine. Okay, that's the second time I've said the business of medicine. What am I talking about? Medicine is a business, a highly profitable business, a business that's in the market to make people feel better, a business that's controlled by shareholders and executives who all want one thing: profit, and lots of it, which means that you as a provider are means to that profit. And in order for profits to be maximized, the business gets to control when you see a patient, how much time you spend with each patient, what questions you ask them, when you see them next, and what kind of tests and procedures you can perform. Now, as a new grad right out of school, you're not jaded over this, and that's probably a good thing because you need your bright eye, bushy-tail perspective to blind you from the ugly truth. But here's the ugly truth. Your job doesn't love you. Your job loves money. And the business of medicine wants money. And it knows for darn certain that you need it too. So what does corporate do to make us work harder and pump out more revenue for them? Well, they dangle fat salaries, bonus checks, and promises of raises in front of us like a carrot. And because you're eager beaver, you want that carrot. Wait, I don't really know if beavers even eat carrots, but whatever, you get my point. The business of medicine blinds you with money. And because you want that money, you overlook everything else. You see the $30,000 sign-on bonus, you don't see the low support staff ratios. You see 401k benefits and medical insurance, so you don't see unrealistic guidelines or provider expectations. You see $110,000 salary, you don't see 60-hour work weeks and weekend calls that you're scheduled for. You see money, you don't see non-existent work-life balance. And if you work in corporate long enough, you'll see guidelines and policies that are implemented that just aren't necessarily evidence-based medicine or even safe practices. But these policies will create revenue growth for the business of medicine. And pretty soon, you'll start to notice that providers are bending over backwards to meet these unrealistic productivity measures. Why? Well, because their bonuses are tied to these metrics. Now, tell me if this sounds familiar. Hey, your base pay is $110,000, but hey, if you work super hard, you can make $150,000. But you gotta see 30 patients an hour and make sure you get a 5-star rating from every patient and you give all the narcotics and antibiotics they want. Sounds fair? That is the kind of medicine we're living in right now. I fell for it. I was the perfect corporate employee. I rolled through my patients, I sacrificed my lunch breaks, I decreased my door-to-door time, and I perfected my patient metrics to maximize my quarterly bonus. Oh, I had it all figured out. But by the end of the day, the end of the week, the end of the month, I was defeated, depressed. I was mean and tired, and I felt like I was sacrificing so much. I hated seeing so many patients in an hour. I hated being a cash-flowing asset. That's exactly what I was. I was a cash-flowing asset for the business. But why did I feel this way? Well, that led me to my next realization. The business of medicine stripped me of my autonomy. I was so whipped from metrics that I didn't realize I was putting profits above patient care. I mean, deep down inside, I knew something was wrong. Like, I knew I shouldn't be seeing this large volume of patients in such a short amount of time. And I knew I shouldn't be focusing so much on patient satisfaction. But at the same time, I didn't feel like I was doing anything wrong because I was doing my job. Actually, correction, I was following orders. And everybody around me was doing the same thing. So when you're stuck in this environment of corporate controlled, money-hungry providers, you don't see the problem, and that's the freaking problem. So one day I woke up and I realized I don't really like this version of corporate Sam. This always in a hurry, trying to see as many patients as possible, trying to make all my patients happy version of me. I didn't like it. You see, the promise of a bonus was enticing, and it was the perfect motivation for me to become a better provider. A better provider. What I realized was the rewards that were dangled in front of me were withheld more often than they were given to me. You see, corporate didn't really want to give me more money. They just wanted to make me feel more motivated so I can work faster and harder to produce more profits for the business of medicine. And that was their well thought out strategy. They told me what to do, they set the metrics, they set the standards, and they had full control of my income, of my life. And when I realized this, I got really angry. And because I got angry, I realized I had no control over my income. And the lack of control, that feeling, the lack of control was what drove me to full out provider burnout. And my burnout was so severe that I quit my job, moved to Thailand, and I started talking openly about my feelings on social media. And what did burnout ultimately teach me? The business will always choose profits over providers. Profits over providers. You are easily replaceable. Easily replaceable. There is another hungry 25-year-old new grad PA that will come and take your job in a heartbeat. And they will work for $5,000, $10,000, or even $20,000 less. This is my experience and probably the experience of most providers in medicine right now. And I'm telling you this because you're better off recognizing it before you commit your life to your employer. So don't become a corporate puppet like I did. Don't lose your autonomy, because when you lose your autonomy, you lose control of your life. You become a passenger in the backseat going along for the ride. And guess who's the driver? Your employer. As providers, we have to hold on to our autonomy, or in my case, reclaim our autonomy. So how do we do that? Well, we don't allow corporate to control us. How do we prevent corporate from controlling us? Great question. We change our lives and perspective and tactics to not be money dependent. By becoming financially independent, we change the way we view our jobs. And when we're independent, our job returns to what it should always have been: a means to a passion, not a profit. So what exactly am I telling you? Medicine is a business. You are not a business. By making these realizations and internalizing them now, no matter what stage of career, you can start making changes on how you view your job. You can realign your focus on what's actually important to you and your life. Is it your relationship, maybe your kids, or your personal happiness? And if your job is interfering with any of those, there is a definite problem, and you have to identify the problem. I'm here on a mission to help providers avoid the mistakes that I made early on in my career by sharing my stories and pointing out things I learned really, really late so you don't make my mistakes. And I have a whole newsletter where I share everything I learned about medicine and business and money in my newsletter called Your Weekly RX, a dose of financial literacy. If you're interested, you can subscribe below. You get an email once a week on Tuesday sharing all my personal experience and insights. And if any of this stuff rang true to you or make you stop and think, drop me a comment or a like and let me know your thoughts. I would love to hear from you because my channel is loaded with career insights and financial dependent stuff, but more importantly, I want to know what you want to know. So hit the subscribe button if you've done so and tell me more so I can share my journey with you. And with that said, I'm going to say goodbye and I'll see you next week. Bye guys.